There used to be a tradition in my country of introducing oneself with one's title. So allow me to introduce myself. Author, actress, filmmaker, Maj Zetterling. Myself as author, alchemist, August Strindberg. Myself as author, philosopher, runaway queen, Christina, who shocked the world more than once. So here we are, 3 characters in search of our city. I am not on my way to heaven. I'm just a mortal human being with a civic registration number, the proof that I exist. And when I die, my number will be put onto another computer. This way, I will never get lost. Taking a bird's eye view over my city, what do I see? A city which has been named City of Light and Water, City of Space and Grace, City between the bridges. There are many Stockholms, and the name means many things for many people. But for me it is the city of my childhood, the city of 1,000 trades, the city of the silent crowds, the city with no faces, the city of no dreams, the city with 1 million hidden people, the city with the greatest solitude, the city of prosperity, the city with its hard liquor zone. Yes, we have problems with alcohol, described as neurotic. The largest monopoly in the world is Systembolaget, a state-run chain store for alcohol. The city of dark winters and many gloomy months. There is a drop in marriages and the divorce rate has risen. The city that provides commuter tickets for dogs on trains and buses. Stockholm is probably the most law-abiding town in Western Europe. A city with many laws and restrictions, reforms, protections against almost everything. The city with architecture of 7 centuries and at least 17 styles. The god is a silent Lutheran god with little impact on society. Efforts have been made to disestablish the Lutheran Church. Most young people, or most people, are negative or indifferent to religion. This is the city which has been regarded by the world as a model city, socially and culturally. However, there is a system of compulsory military service for men between the ages of 18 and 47. This is the city situated between east and west, and who has the highest life expectancy in the world, the highest standard of living in Europe. Everything is organized for the people except sleep. Culture is on the top of the list of recreations. The National Theatre. Both Greta Garbo and the two great Bergmans, Ingmar and Ingrid, were connected with it. The Star Factory, it has been called. It has a school with a 3-year course, so I took my courage in both hands and entered that monumental place. I used to sit on the steps with my eyes downcast and didn't think I really belonged there. But to my great surprise, I was accepted at the age of 18. And already after 1 year, I played big parts in Shakespeare and Strindberg. I was an actress.
Our great dramatist, August Strindberg, had a lot to say about acting and actresses. The art of acting seems to be the easiest of all arts, as any person can walk, talk, make gestures. But of course, that person is herself, and that is not art. Give a person a role to play, and there the difficulties begin. As for the darling of the stage, that dear little woman, she knows she has a charming figure, lovely legs, and a pair of flirtatious eyes. Being charming is all she knows, and she uses it. It has certainly nothing to do with talent. If she has words to say, we usually cannot hear them. And if we do, there is no depth behind the words. And beware of our darling who knows she has a lovely voice. She only listens to herself and does not take into account what the author has to say. I should know. I was married to two charming, darling actresses myself.
Poor old Strindberg. Women, always women. He even went as far as thinking that the gang of women intellectuals were after him, trying to seduce him. Being a misogynist, that would have been a feather in their hats. But as they couldn't seduce him, he then thought that they were after his life. He called them a bunch of blue-stockings, man-haters, half-women, self-centered little bitches trying to take over the world. He was being persecuted. When his friends called him paranoid, he denied it. He could never forget the fundamental antagonism that exists between the sexes. Once upon a time, he had thought that he could find peace through a woman, but that had turned out to be the worst hell of all. Strindberg's Blue Tower, the prison he used to call it. He lived here without women and didn't stop writing about them. Everything stands just as he left it. Now it is a museum. On the shelves are the plays obsessed with the central theme, women, the beginning and the end. The beginning being mother. His first love was his mum. I wanted my loves to mother me, he screamed. There was Siri, my first wife. Little devil, damn blonde, a whore in the drawing room, a lady in bed. I wanted the opposite. Frida, my second wife. She attracted me, she repelled me. I hated her because I loved her. My third wife, little cannibal who gave me back my youth, Harriet. I said, do you want a little child with me? Yes, please, she said and curtsied. And that was that. Everything about a woman is a riddle, and everything about women has one solution: pregnancy.
But I must agree, women are sometimes strange creatures, confused, slightly out of focus. According to man, we are still out of touch with his world. We are the square pegs in the round holes, so we are treated with suspicion. Sometimes women have more courage than men, because to be a woman takes great courage.
Tell me, why do you hate women?
Hate women? I've never done that, unfortunately. No, I always thought it was them that hated me. Woman is a particularly spiteful, unintelligent, and malicious animal.
Once you said that woman was the most perfect thing on earth. Remember?
I must have had an hallucination.
What professions do you think are suitable for women?
Wives, maids, nurses. Because they are children all their lives. Actresses, dancers, singers, queens, whores, of course. The female of the species is more deadly than the male.
What are you looking for in life?
Love, in fact, a woman. I'm unhappy. Woman is the earth. I hate the earth because I love it. I'm frightened. I am lonely. I'll show you a bit of our lonely planet, as I painted it. In advance of my time, they said, like everything else I've done. A shit green landscape, a shit yellow sky, and shit black fir trees. That's Sweden for you.
Strindberg even went further. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I maintain that the Swedish nation is a stupid, conceited, slavish, envious, and uncouth nation. Something Strindberg seemed to suggest was rotten in the state of Sweden. Yet there is a Norwegian joke that goes, there is only one thing wrong with the Swedes. They are perfect. A Swede says, yes, look what a smart place we Swedes have made for ourselves. Look how hard we work and how well we look after each other. We are so beautifully organized, so clean. Everything is fine, just fine. Why then the boredom? Why this middle-aged mood? Why is the rate of suicide still high? Why has mental illness risen? Can there be some grain of truth in what the Norwegians say about us? The only thing wrong with the Swedes is that they are perfect. A 16th century traveller once called Stockholm a trading village which thinks it is a city. That was true then, but now it is a boom town which thinks it is a village. Its population has almost tripled in only half a century. It is a young city. Yet very near the heart of the city, the old village feeling has been kept and guarded. Every part of our country is represented here. Every style, manor houses, peasant dwellings, churches, old inns. It is a well-known and well-loved part of Stockholm. It is called Skansen. Strindberg knew it well too. He used to come here for early morning outings, to free his mind from the demons and the angels that seemed to leave him no peace. The gloomy months of winter are the price that Stockholm has to pay for the brilliant glory of its summer. And the culmination comes on that very important day for a Swede, midsummer, where there is singing and dancing all through the night, and a fair bit of drinking as well. Now you can read the newspaper at midnight without any artificial light. Nobody sleeps now. The night is luminous. The light has an intensity that has to be seen to be believed. Even the animals refuse to sleep. Skansen, by the way, is a zoological garden of great renown. The animals live in relatively open and large spaces, not caged in. It has been a model to other similar institutions in Europe. The world is beautiful, but it has one disease. It is called man. God must have created him on a Saturday night when he was rather tired. As for women, well, there was a mistake, to be sure, a slip of his hand. So, man must command, woman must obey. All else is confusion. Oh, yes. Yes, of course. It's only those damn angels that keep on following me about. I'm frightened. I'm frightened. Oh, I'm frightened of women. They'll be the death of men. And they will never forgive us what we've done to them. That's it. That's it. Women and elephants never forgive. Women and elephants never forgive. I'm frightened, I tell you. I'm frightened of women. I'm frightened of thunder. I'm frightened of the police, who's going to lock me up sooner or later because of something I've written or because they think I'm mad. I'm frightened of my success. My friends hate me for it. I'm frightened, do you hear? I'm frightened of myself. I'm frightened of the devil.
Once upon a time, there was rather a stupid little man who could think of nothing else but fear. One night, he was forced to walk home by himself. And although the moon was full and giving him plenty of light, he was still very frightened. When he happened to look down and saw his own shadow, he thought it was the devil. When he dared to look up, he saw a little bit of his hair standing on end with fear. He thought it was a demon. He ran as fast as his little legs could carry him, and when he came home, he dropped down dead with fear.
I forgot to tell you about another fear of mine. War. I wrote the Swedish nation in 1910 regarding the military build-up. I said it was dangerous to make weapons in peacetime. Also, if we have such a big army, surely we must use it sooner or later. I've looked at the statistics. I'm frightened, I tell you. I'm frightened. I'm frightened.
Neutrality has been a keynote of our foreign policy. We've had no war since 1814. Our last Prime Minister had this to say on the subject. All in all, we live in an evil world. One sign of it is that as long as we believe that we have to have a military defense, it is a must in the world we live in. And a minister added recently, it is of course impossible to say exactly how strong our defenses must be, but they must be strong enough to make resistance worthwhile, at least to certain types of attack. Hence, this large underground shelter in Stockholm, which was built as a protection against nuclear attack. In peacetime, it is used as a garage. Odd that one of the best prepared countries in Europe should be the most neutral. If war comes, there are 11 pages at the back of the telephone book that will tell you what to do. Listen for the alarm signals, put on the radio, draw the curtains, find a safe place and take with you some warm clothes, a sleeping bag, food and drink for 2 days, identity cards, etc. Funny, really, when one knows what just one single megaton bomb can do. Striking the center of a city, it would create vast devastation and hundreds of thousands of casualties. And radiation would create long-term genetic defects and cancers in humans. People are feeling alienated in this society. A feeling of apathy has crept in. Small wheels in a large bit of machinery. They know it doesn't really matter what they feel or think.
Once upon a time, one man said to another, "Aren't the rulers of a country supposed to get rid of unhappiness and make happiness possible for everyone?" "What do you mean by happiness and unhappiness?" said the other one. "When men make wars, when the people mistrust their rulers, when there is no love, I call that unhappiness." Why do you think that unhappiness still exists in our time, when we have it so good? Do you think there is some lack of understanding between people? The man thought for a while, and then he said, "Nowadays, we are taught how to love and worship our own country. That's called nationalism, and that's why we go to war against other nations. A person is taught only to love and take care for himself. That's why people are still evil." "Now, how are you going to change this state of affairs?" said the other one. "Well, we must start treating other countries like our own. We must love our neighbors like ourselves." Don't you think that people are going to laugh at you and call you a little bit of an idealist, said the other one. "I don't understand. It's all so simple. If you love others, they love you. If you help, you get help. The others that hate will get hated, and the ones that kill will get punished. Don't you see? It's all a matter of love."
Love is warfare. You need more courage to get married than to go to war.
Queen Christina, you shook a world by refusing to get married, and again when you abdicated. You wanted to explore the philosophy of the day, so you brought the most famous of philosophers, Descartes, to your court, where I'm afraid he died. Was it from the draughty rooms in your castle? Or was it your strength that killed him? Who knows?
This exhibition is called Aggression Feeds Aggression. Just like marriage. Marriage being a desperate action of a coward. Marriage stops the circulation. Sur le mariage Descartes.
Le mariage est un cercle vicieux.
Marriage is a vicious circle.
Dans lequel on s'enferme.
In which we get stuck. Madam, what do you think of marriage?
Marriage is for secure people.
Merci, madame. Marriage is warfare.
What the hell is that? This is the city that is prepared for practically everything. Keep the city controlled, keep the traffic flowing, keep the city clean, trust no man, safety first. Again, so they say, We are better prepared than most cities in Europe as regards the overall control of a city. Necessary, say the police. Drunkenness is a problem. So are narcotics like everywhere else. So is traffic, and so indeed is boredom. With nothing to do, the teenagers from the suburbs come into town with their minds bent on destruction. The police are demanding more control, and they will certainly get it. They emphasize that it is necessary.
Klockan är 7 och bädden är skön och lillan har lagt för att sova. Mamma sov tyst, nu beder en bön att skyddsängeln måtte lova. Vakna mitt barn för allt som är svårt och låt henne lycklig få leva. Om hon får motgång, håll henne hårt, skydda min lilla Eva.
Leonardo da Vinci once wrote, "He who possesses most is also most afraid of loss." We have won gold medals for our safety locks, won prizes on the continent for our double treble locks. The insurance companies and the police seem to prefer our high standard locks to anyone else's. We are certainly a consumer society. Our self-service stores are in the lead with coupons and premium deals. We have been called a gadget society. And there have been discussions of which kind of society people really want. Shall we continue with this so-called gadget society? And if not, what do we want instead?
I'll now show you something very special. That's the impulse shower. It's a very special product. Swedish word patent. What's impulses? That is that the shower can change between hot and cold in special impulses. And you regulate the impulses here. And that's something like a sauna. You get hot, cold. And for this, you feel very nice and you will be refreshed with this shower.
For advertising the unnecessary and calling it good business when it is no good for you. Forgive us for frantic buying and selling, for advertising the unnecessary and calling it good business when it is no good for you. Forgive us for frantic buying and selling, for advertising the unnecessary and calling it good business when it is no good for you.
Forgive us for frantic buying and selling, for advertising the unnecessary and calling it good business when it is no good for you.
Once upon a time, there was a man who had only one thought in his head. It was to own some gold. One day, he walked into a big jeweler shop, and he stuffed everything he found in his pockets that looked like gold. Then he walked out again. But of course, the police found him at once, and they asked him, there were so many people in the shop. How could you possibly think you'd get away with it? The man answered, I didn't see the people. I only saw the gold.
Stockholm, a golden city surrounded by frozen water leading to the Baltic. The city of bridges, the city with its ruby, red and saffron-colored houses. The city with at least 1 acre of park for every 150 inhabitants. As recently as in the mid-19th century, we were one of the poorest and most underdeveloped countries in Europe. Now, very soon, there will be 2 cars per family unit. It is the cheapest country for telephones in the world. The city between the bridges, a popular name, was the little island where now modern Stockholm was born. The name Stock means logs, which were connected with chains and thrown into the water to protect the island against invasion. Holm was a contemporary word for island. So there it is, Stockholm. The old town is the heart. It's a jumble of narrow streets and cozy restaurants, small squares, where there is usually some kind of commerce. This time, it is colored feathers stuck onto birch branches to provide gaiety indoors. And the leaves will open just in time for Easter. Stockholm was built in the wrong place, a city official said not long ago. Well, in the old times, the rulers didn't want to make it comfortable. They were thinking of military strategy, a place difficult to get at. And that it certainly is, being guarded by a great archipelago. The old town was described by one monarch a long time ago as a fair house and a godly city. This is Gustav Vasa, who is supposed to have been the greatest ruler we have ever had. He looked upon Stockholm as the nation's greatest fortress. He was regarded as the founder of the modern Swedish nation and has been called the George Washington of Sweden.
Once upon a time, there was a woman who had lived most of her life away from her native land. One day, when she was very old and very frail, she decided that she'd pay a visit to her hometown with her friends. They thought they'd tease her a bit, so they said, look, there's your town, don't you remember? She looked. She didn't remember, but she felt very moved. And there is the street and the house where you live with your parents. The tears welled up in her eyes. And look, they said, that's where your father and mother were buried. She couldn't contain herself any longer, and the tears ran down her cheeks. Her friends were a little bit embarrassed by this, and they said, sorry, we're only trying to tease you. This is just a little village. You were born in a very big town, which has grown bigger over the years. She was a bit taken aback by their teasing, but she didn't really mind. Well, once they arrived in her hometown, and she saw the street and the house which she had lived in with her parents, she was very surprised that she wasn't moved to tears, because that's what she had been when her friends had teased her. She looked again, and what did she see? She saw a town like any other town, a street like any other street, a house, a grave.
You are sure to have a warm welcome when you arrive in Stockholm. But don't be surprised that if you arrive in midwinter to get something we Stockholmers call the lap sickness, a kind of melancholy induced by too much darkness. Hence the upturned faces, however briefly the sun decides to shine. The royal palace dominates the old town, a large, cumbersome place. Christina preferred the streets, the open air, her study, or the theatre. According to her ministers, she squandered the money of the people on frivolous games and spectacles. She couldn't convince them that she thought the theatre just as important as bread. And that is, of course, an arguable point indeed.
Queen Christina, one of the strangest and most fascinating creatures God ever made. That's why I wrote a play about her.
I have just written some notes from our discussions.
She had male intelligence. I could have talked to her.
Are we in agreement that security is our greatest enemy? That patriotism is a pernicious, psychotic form of idiocy? That more weapons bring on war? And that the more powerful the weapons that a nation has, the more insecure it feels? That when you have a deep freezer full, there might be some lack of spiritual food? That marriage is a high sea for which no compass was ever invented? That men on the whole like the company of ladies as long as they keep quiet? That men still say there must be something wrong with a woman who is intelligent and who wants to learn? Then we can all agree that life is an incurable disease that goes on and on, and that every woman, every man, in the end, is as lonely as a lighthouse.
What do the Swedish people want for the coming year? Do you know? Some money in the bank? A pleasant evening at home with friends? To have children you can be proud of?
Be more daring than careful, and you will achieve things. There are times when I get so confused that I believe that everything I've written is more real than reality itself. Oh, it's all a dream, an illusion.
Perhaps I've been away from Stockholm too long, as I don't seem to have the same kind of wishes as my compatriots. Here are mine then. Inner growth, insecurity, love.